We are recording.
Great. So I have some troubles with internet connection. Okay. So first, we're gonna have Colin introducing our collective, as we always do in the beginning. After that, Caneisha is gonna take the stage, and she's gonna explain to us and share her knowledge about designing and creating our own coaching programs. Um, After that, we're gonna have our goals, both members' goals and collective goals for 2020. I think it's a good way to start new year with setting some goals. And in the end, we're gonna have always the same closing with next event and the way to join us and connect with us. Um, After further ado, without further ado, I would let Colin uh, tell us more about who we are and what we are here for.
Great. So, Sash, can you go to the next slide? Okay, guys. So let me say I'm very excited to be here, January 7th, talking to you guys. Today is actually 7 days, seven months to the day from us having our first collective meeting. So we don't really celebrate anniversaries, but for us, June 7th, and around our 7th month. So I think it's a good way to highlight our growth. Initially, we had I want to say 5 or 6 people in that first meeting in a coffee shop, and we've grown since then. I want to say that we've organically grown, and by organically growing, I mean we're growing with good life coaches as opposed to trying to grow for growth's sake. So we really started out with a single mission, and I got to say I'm very proud to say that this mission statement, excuse me, this mission statement was identified by our member coaches. During our first session, we had a question: what is the purpose? My initial purpose was to have an environment where life coaches could get together to really support each other. We know that the life coaching industry globally is still unknown. It's growing, but it's still relatively unknown. I think 8 out of 10 people I talk to still don't know what life coaching is. But I wanted to make sure that in addition to being able to support clients, we had an organization or a way to support each other. And at the end of that first session, we identified what I like to say is a very clear and simple mission: actively teach, learn, and support member life coaches while promoting life coaching. And I think this covers two sides: making sure that as coaches, we have a support mechanism in place, and that we're also promoting positive life coaching. And just one of the genesis of, or the start of this idea really came from, actually, it was about a year ago when I was wrapping up my coaching certification program. I spent 2 to 3 years coaching, but as far as having that coaching certification, I graduated from that program last February. When I finished, I really and truly missed that classroom environment, that environment where every week I'm getting together with other people who are excited about coaching and we're supporting each other. And when I finished, I kind of felt like on an island. There were other coaches here and there, but not really an active group of people who were supporting each other. So I think what we put together here, going organic and going slowly, really has the opportunity to be a great support collective for life coaches. And who are our members? Our members are aspiring coaches, new coaches, and experienced coaches. And I think because we cover those three areas, we're really able to support. And I'll give an example. We know we have some aspiring people who know a little bit about coaching, think they want to be a coach, may not know how to get started. Well, in our group, you don't have to be an experienced life coach. We have experienced life coaches that can help you and give you guidance on how to achieve that. So give me a second here, guys. I want to go ahead and thank you, Sasha. Actively support each other. Yeah. So again, we have those aspiring coaches that can get support from our new and experienced coaches. We also have a lot of new life coaches. And I think the new life coaches are the ones that need that support the most, because once they graduate, it's sort of like, okay, what do I do next? We know we have two sides to it, right? The business side and the ability to coach side. So it's important that we have people that can coach them on how to make those next steps and tell them, don't be nervous about having your first client session. Don't be nervous about going from free coaching to paid coaching. And here's how I did it, and here's how you may want to do it. And then we have the experienced type coaches. And I got to tell you, experienced type coaches love giving back. And by giving back, I mean love helping other coaches. What's so great about this industry is, as life coaches, we are not in competition with each other. We're not. Right now, we're supporting each other. And not many industries can say that you are really there to help your fellow life coach succeed. So our three main areas: member coaches are eager, right? Eager to support other life coaches, eager to learn from other life coaches, asking questions, challenging things. How did you do that? Why did you do that? And actively eager to learn from other coaches and actively promoting life coaching. We are all marketing majors, experts. We are all walking advertisements for life coaching. If we coach and somebody has a bad experience, then that may change their view on coaching, and they may share that with a friend. So we want to actively promote life coaching. And we really support our members in two distinct areas: the business side and the coaching side. I like to call this the pure side being the coaching side, and then the real side being the business side. And what I mean by that is, on the coaching side, we want to help coaches improve their ability to help others. That means they know how to coach individuals and how to help them reach their goals. The other side is the business side. And quite frankly, this is the side where we typically need more help because we haven't gotten help before. So a lot of entrepreneurs are very excited about what they're delivering, but may not know how to build a business. So we want to make sure that we're also providing information on how to successfully build a business that can consistently obtain clients. And I'm so glad that today's topic really touches on that. Today's topic is on the business side, right? Well, it's a mesh, right? It's how you really want to help clients, but it's really how you also run a business. So I'm looking forward to today's topic. So that's who we are. We are 7 months old officially as of today, and I think our future is bright. And I look forward to all of you guys enjoying today's session. Okay, Sasha, thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Uh, I would like to mention, because you mentioned an important mark for our collective. I had different thing in my mind when you mentioned it, because today is also a Christian Orthodox Christmas.
Oh.
So according to the old calendar, I know Caneisha also cites Bible often. So I just wanted to mention it. It's an important date because my family is traditionally Orthodox, so we celebrate Christmas today. And
wow.
From
Merry
that
Christmas.
perspective, thank you. From that perspective, it's important for me. Yeah. And I would also like to add on your introduction, Colin, that this thing that we have ability, we have possibility to teach here is huge for me and share our experience, because when I decided to become life coach, I was thinking like, okay, I did so much effort on my personal development and I learned a lot to get to know myself. Now I'm gonna teach everyone about it. But actually coaching is not exactly that. So I realized that later and I was like, okay, let me try to do this. But yeah, it's definitely a good way to share and teach others and support. Okay, Colin, can you share yes, the control with me again?
Okay, you should have it.
Okay, yeah. So tonight we have Caneisha Berry with us. She has quite a few programs and accomplishments so far. As you can see here, we have Awaken to Real You, Purpose, Passion, and Profit, Think Your Way to a Better Marriage. On top of that, she has 2 books already, which are Think Your Way to a Better Marriage and 5 Ways to Conquer Fear. And I'm looking forward to checking them out, especially the ways to conquer your fear. I'm really passionate about it, and I'm working on it all the time. So I'm definitely going to explore that side as well. She has as well her YouTube channel, Very Thoughtful Life Coaching, which I already checked out, and I highly recommend. I like the way she's introducing relationships and relationship problems. And having said that, I'm really looking forward to hear what she has to say about tonight's topic. Having said that, Caneisha, welcome, and the stage is yours.
Oh, thank you. Let me see if I can be smart enough now that I'm under pressure.
Yeah.
Take
your time. Take your time.
Challenge. Okay. Yeah, I think I might have it. All right, here you go. So, as Sasha said, I'm Caneisha Berry. I'm a relationship life coach. I help my clients get clear about who they are so that they can begin to create the life they want. Because I've learned that many times we think our biggest challenge is other people, but the truth is we enter into relationships, whether that's work environment, with a spouse or a mate, co-workers, friendships. And I love how when I hear the word, when I say the word relationship, people immediately say to me, well, I'm not in a relationship. Like, your relationships every day with your family, with your parents, with your siblings. But a lot of times we're not aware of what we bring to the table, to the relationship. And so my goal is always to help my clients discover who they are. And in doing that, they can begin to shift and choose the thoughts they need to produce either the love they want, the finances they want. Like you talk about fear. Fear is just another like emotion thought that you're having a relationship with, that you could choose. Once you understand it, you can choose how you're going to continue to be in relationship with fear. So that is why I focus on the individual and not so much what's going on outside of them. So I want to thank you guys for inviting me tonight to talk about this, design and creating your own program. Interesting enough, when you asked me, I thought, well, how did I design my program?
Really quick, can you go to your presentation view?
Go to which one?
Your presentation view.
Is it working?
Yeah, it's on the preview view right now.
Okay, how do I do that?
If you're in PowerPoint, there should be at the bottom left, there should be an icon to go into presentation.
Let me see. Well, actually, I'm in Keynote.
Keynote at the bottom has it also. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Is that it? Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, so I wanted to just say thank you guys for inviting me. And I had to really think about how and why did I design my programs. And so thank you for awakening that kind of up in me to make me think about it that way. But before I dive in, I do want to know, like, who are you guys? I know who you are as a collective, but I want to know who you are individually in the sense of, I know that you're a coach, but what do you coach and how long have you been coaching? So if you guys would share that with me, it'd be great.
Sure. Colin, you're going to go first?
Oh, sure. Okay. Colin Thompson. I've been coaching for about 3 years now. Originally doing more technical agile coaching, then leadership coaching within IBM as an organization. So it started out more technical and more software development, and then it went to team coaching and leadership coaching. I established my first company, my coaching company, first quarter of 2019, and since then have been going forward, coaching, learning, and falling on my butt and getting back up.
That's what coaching is.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, Clark, you want to go first? I see you're unmuted. Maybe you want to. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Actually, a lot of activities was going, in the background, so I just muted it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so about me, I'm an educator, but last time I told you guys that I'm trying to change my career. So like I'm going towards coaching now. And why I want to do this, because I have been doing it, you can say, like, unknowingly with my friends and my family members. So I'm just into that, motivational kind of writing and motivational kind of topics. So I thought that this is going to be a perfect field for me at this point of time. So I'm just going towards that, and I'm a coach in training.
Okay, great.
So we'll be in May. Graduate in May.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Yao, you want to go now with introduction?
Yeah, yes, I want to because I have no power at first style. So I have been learning coaching for nearly 2 years, from a Coactive Coaching. So Clark, is that you?
Yes, it is me.
So Clark is oh my God.
I think she doesn't have any more batteries, so she turned off. Maybe Clark, you want to introduce yourself before her? Clark, are you here?
I can't hear you very well.
Okay. Clark sent a message in the chat. He's coaching for 5 years and focusing on leadership, and his purpose is to help others. I guess he is unable to speak now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Sasha. I started my coaching program in September, and I'm about to finish to graduate before beginning of March. I'm coaching already some people, but it's more like free coaching to practice what I'm learning, and yeah, just inspiring or new coach, let's say, and actually I'm thinking about relationship coaching. I still didn't decide what I want to do, but relationship coaching is something that I really enjoy doing, and I know that because of the ideas that I have when I talk to people about their relationships and the ways that I communicate to them and try to help them. It happened before I started my coaching program that I have impacted on people and their relationships. So that's definitely something I'm calling. Can you please put mute everyone for a second, because I'm making, yeah, I think it was Iva. Thank you, Iva. Anyway, that's me. And Caneisha, you can take over. I think we all introduced ourselves.
Yeah, let me add one thing really quick. I want to say that I know that Iva, do you want to share your background?
Yes. So sorry, guys. I'm a working mom, just walking the dog because my husband is a high executive. He's gonna come home very late, so I have to get everything done before I take a client's call with Europe tonight. So I'm highly multitasking. That's why it's on a mute all the time. I'm an executive coach. I'm ICF certified, PCC level, and I joined this group because I've been watching what Colin has been posting, and I really like. And congratulations to your 7 months. I really like your presence, Colin, and it's been active, right? Every month you're nicely posting in the group. So I wanted to know who you are. And even though I'm executive coach, I don't think you can separate business life from private life. Because if one of the areas is not going well, it is going to influence the other area. So that's why I joined, and I want to know what you guys do and what other tricks you have up to the sleeves that I don't know yet about.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I somehow tried to skip you. It's my mistake. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
No. I didn't notice that you didn't introduce yourself. So it was my mistake.
No, that's okay. Oh, no. Please don't worry. It's on mute, and I'm walking on a crazy street here with big dogs and other people. So okay. I'll put it back on mute so you don't listen half of Shanghai.
Okay, great.
One last thing I wanted to just add here, Caneisha. Yao is the first member in our Beijing chapter. How about that?
Oh, great.
In our Beijing honor. We have about 3 or 4 people in Beijing where you are.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Yeah. Maybe I'll find a way to get connected with the group here.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to find a way.
Yes.
We're here to support each other.
Absolutely. I need the support. I often feel like I'm like in this all by myself. So let me like just kind of share with you guys kind of how I became a coach and why I wrote my first program. I became a coach because I needed a coach. And as I was going through, and I needed a coach because, full disclosure, it's part of my story. My marriage was in trouble, and I don't know why I didn't want a therapist. Well, I kind of do know why I didn't want a therapist. Like, I wanted someone who's going to help me have action steps to get out of the emotions and the feelings and the frustrations I was feeling. I was cool with going through it. I understood the importance of going through the pain. I wasn't trying to avoid it, but I did not want to spend a year talking about how I felt. I wanted to be like, okay, I feel this way. What can I do not to feel this way again? And so my coach really helped me, and she actually had a program. She used a 10-week program to help me. And because I saw her do that, I modeled. But the reason I became a coach is because my coach kept saying to me while she was coaching me, you should become a coach. And I was like, why do you say that? She says, because you're so inspiring and so motivating. Like, she's like, she gets excited when she gets the chance to coach me. And I'm like, but I pay you. She was like, right. So let people pay you because you're really, she said she would always leave our calls feeling more inspired. So that was kind of, and I was in that place in life where I felt lost, disconnected. I wasn't sure what my next step was going to be. I had moved from America and was homeschooling my children, which I was really happy and excited about that. But I knew that I wanted a next new thing because prior to being a coach, I was a graphic designer, creative director, that kind of thing, which I loved, but it kind of had done all, like I got all out of it that I could get out of it. And it was time for something new. And so that's how I found coaching. And originally I thought I was going to be coaching, working with my coach because she had a ministry and I thought I would be working in her ministry. But later I believe that it was just kind of the pathway. I'm a God girl. So you guys, you have to get used to that word with me. So I believe it was the pathway God used to lead me to coaching, but it wasn't where it wasn't my assignment, if that makes sense to anyone. So after I did my coaching program through World Coach Institute, did the phone calls, did the whole group thing. And then I was for a while working with those ladies through Marshall's group. Can I be honest, for disclosure? When people are dealing with things at such deep levels, what I had learned in coaching class wasn't going to help those ladies. Because no one ever called me and said, oh, I struggle with procrastination. Like, that was never one of my calls. I was getting calls like, I just found out my husband cheated on me. And I'm like, what the? So I thought, like, how am I really going to be effective and help these ladies? And so I began to use Marshall's program. But when I left out of that type of situation, and then I start getting my own clients, my clients were the ladies who said, I don't know who I am anymore. I never got a client to say, can you help me with time management? I didn't get that client. So I'm like, where do I start with that? Right? So, you get your list of questions and you go through that. But I felt like what I kept running into with my clients was they didn't have self-reflection. And I don't mean that they didn't self-reflect. I mean, they didn't know how to self-reflect. And so I wrote the program. So one, I can I saw that my clients needed the guidance in understanding and opening up to who they were. And two, I needed to help them know how to self-reflect. And so instead of spending an hour on the phone with me, with us trying to pull out what they think is happening, once I put it in a program and made them do the work before they came to me, we moved quicker, faster, and they had faster breakthroughs. So, and then the third thing was we needed a common language. Particularly back then with coaching, like you said, coaching now is starting to get a little bit more recognized and understood. But as a relationship coach, and what I was helping people with was that emotional stuff and understanding themselves. when you're dealing with people who are lost, they don't even know. They don't even have a language for themselves. Like, what are you feeling? I don't know. What is it you need? I'm not sure. I just need something. Or what is your goal? And I'm like, well, how am I going to help you? You know, so but they wanted my help, and they weren't going like, well, you can't help me, so I'll go find someone else. They was like, no, I found you. I think you can help me get to work, lady. And I'm like, well, okay. So I began to realize so I started like listening to my clients. And also the biggest thing I realized is that my clients were me historically. So I started thinking about what was it that I needed. And so and I start to put like step 1, step 2, but I'm like, we're all adults. So hopefully you guys, if you're taking notes, you can say that. So the first thing I would encourage you guys to do as you are entering into coaching, or even if you've been in coaching for a while and you're thinking about creating a curriculum, is get very clear about what is your superpower. Like, what makes you uniquely you? And so in my coaching program, Purpose, Passion, and Profit, what I do is I help people to identify what I call their spiritual gifts. I'm a God girl. I think our superpower is connected to our spiritual gift. Because I believe, whether you believe in God or not, and people who work with me, I've had atheist clients, people who are Muslim, people who like, I think there's something there, but I don't really know, but it's okay. We can call it love. Like, I don't put my values on people, but I also don't work with anyone who will not allow me to be me, because I don't know how to do anything else. And so with the idea that I have that we all were created on purpose, for purpose, and by something, like we were just intentional. I don't think it's by happenstance you're here. And I don't think that you're not equipped with something special that make you uniquely you. So I believe once you figure out your superpower, the way you was designed, you can begin to then know who the people are that you help most. And so you've heard it, like I heard Sheila say earlier, and then Sasha, I think you mentioned it, kind of all your life, people have come to you for advice. You motivate people. They begin to recognize you as that person that give good advice, or that has wisdom, or you have a different outlook than everyone else. You guys have that experience? That's probably because it has something to do with your superpower, the thing I call your superpower. And so sometimes your superpower is wisdom. It could be knowledge, understanding. Some people can understand things in such a way that others are like, wow, I've been looking at that for days and I didn't get that. And you walk right in and you can crack that open for me. One of the things I love to teach people that sometimes your superpower is that you're super organized. And I've had a client, she was surprised and relieved to find out that made her special, because she said, I've always been super organized. I can walk into chaos and I know exactly what to do to make it straight. But I just thought that was who I am. I said, it is who you are, but it's also your superpower. And you can charge money for that for a person like me who's not, who's not organized and who can't, don't always know where to put things. And so helping people, one, recognize their superpowers is part of my superpower. And then in order to identify your superpower, start thinking about like, who are I remember I said earlier, those women weren't my assignment. Like, as passionate as I am for women who are hurting, I wasn't ready to work with those women yet, because I was ready to go. Even when I entered into the program to get help, I was ready to go. Sometimes people are they want to kind of stay and meditate through the pain. And I'm not good at that. Like, I'm not good at helping someone do that. And so you have to figure out who you're passionate for or what you're passionate for, because your power, your superpower, that thing that makes you unique has equipped you for that. So like I said, the people who I tend to attract are mostly women who say things like, I'm lost, I don't know who I am anymore. I believe, like, I think I have a purpose, but I don't know what it is. Caneisha, I'm just, please, like, I don't feel like I'm alive anymore. So those are my people. And so because I have the gift of wisdom and insight, and I call it a root seeker, and I can hear things that people say, and can transform it in a way that, like, I can help people. I can identify people's gifts when they can't identify them. So because that's my superpower, my clients, like, I help my clients with that. And if you guys have any questions as I go, you're welcome to ask as I go.
Yeah. Colin actually just asked in the WeChat, in the group.
I'm trying to get that little thing to come open, but my clicker is clicking everything but it. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you, because I had a question. Is your superpower tied to your specialty area or your niche?
I would say yes. Everybody may not know that, but I would say yes. In the sense of, it may be what caused you to choose your niche. So, like, even though I'm a relationship coach, I got my certification in relationship. If I was totally honest, I really think I'm a spiritual coach.
Okay.
But I know that word scare people and it limits people. But the spiritual coach is really just helping you understand you, right? The relationship you have with yourself. So I just decided to go with the relationship coach part, because I think people are more drawn to, oh, you can help me with my relationships. But then when I get them in, it's kind of that bait and switch. When I get them in,
Spiritual.
we start talking about who they are, and they're like, oh, maybe I do need your help. Because the whole thing is, I can't help you change another person.
Right.
But I can't help you change you. So the reason I share these quotes, again, it's like, because I have the full screen, I can't move stuff. 1 second. You guys are going to have to forgive me. I can't move the little box. Can you guys see that box? The Zoom group chat box?
Yeah, don't try, because it'll mess you up.
Okay. Yeah. Can you turn it off for me?
Turn it off. The box, it shouldn't be blinking. Should not be blinking.
No, but can you move it? Because it's sitting in the middle of my screen, and so I can't see what my slide says.
Oh no! What you have to do, you have to go out of the partition view,
like that,
and then move it. And then this is a bug with that application, not PowerPoint, the other one.
Okay. Yeah. With Zoom.
Yep. There we go.
Okay. Cool. So I just shared these 2 quotes with you guys, and I won't read them all, just because what I wanted you to know is, sometimes when you can't identify your superpower, other people will see your superpower, and other people will often say it to you. So, like, most of my life, I've heard people say things like, oh, you're so inspiring, you're so encouraging, you have such a great way to see things. And so some of my clients say things like, I finally see myself, because I help them discover who they are. I now understand my thoughts and my story. So as we move on through the program, her saying my story, remember I said we needed a common language? That's a direct quote from my teaching of her. So when people start working with me, one of the things I teach them is about the narrator, that voice inside of our heads that's telling us who we are, who we're not, what you can do. Oh, you're never gonna succeed. This is never gonna work. I help my clients get very aware to that voice. And so that when you can begin to really awaken to that voice, you can begin to choose to stop listening to that voice. And then you can begin to choose to change that voice. And so when she said that in her testimony, my story has a new narrative of truth. That's a common language now that she built working with me. because we talk about story. So this is why I wrote the curriculum, so that now, like, how do you can get a person on board when you don't have a common language? And so that's what the coaching program is. It becomes this kind of universal thing that when my clients are now working with me, even after they finish the program and they continue to coach with me, when they contact me and say, Caneisha, oh my God, this is what's going on. Today I need clarity on this. I can say, okay, what is the story you're telling yourself? And they immediately know what we're talking about because we build that language together.
That makes sense. I would have a question if I can interrupt you.
Absolutely.
So, when you were explaining what superpower is, the way I saw my superpower in your description, I felt like I developed my superpowers. I was not born with them. Is that possible?
I think so. Like, even again, I said I'm a God girl. And I started looking at this from a perspective of spiritual gifts. Yeah. Historically, my spiritual gift was just wisdom and what was it? But now when I take the test, it tells me that it's faith and teaching. And so it has grown over the years. So I absolutely believe that your gift can develop and it can grow, and it can shift and change based on who we are. And based on, I think, who we, like as a coach, you guys have probably heard the saying, it's not about what you want, it's who you need to become. You heard that? So yeah, I think in our becoming, our gifts shift, change, and grow, because we then become, and we come into the being or the person we need to be successful, to maybe make the first 100,000, go to whatever your goals are. Everything is based on who do you need to become to do that. Like if you want 100,000 followers, and there's some becoming that has to happen. And so I think that definitely enhanced your gifts because of you're becoming, you're learning more, you're reading more, you're interacting. So your gifts are going, oh, okay, I'm gonna grow with you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Any other questions about superpowers? So as you're writing your curriculum, and some people, I think some people call this your avatar, because I've taken about 3 or 4 coaching courses to help me develop my coaching, to try to learn how to broaden my scope and those kind of things. And so some people call this your avatar, but when you're writing your curriculum, you want to think about who's your ideal client. And as you all know, like, you can't say, well, everybody, that's what I used to say, well, I can coach everybody. Well, yeah, everybody doesn't connect with me, and I'm not for everyone. So like, who are the people that, or the companies that you connect with most? And so start thinking about, okay, who is my client? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What are their needs? And so definitely you want to start thinking about, like, what is their challenge or their pain point, or what obstacle is your client facing? And so, like I said earlier, my client today is the woman I was 10 years ago. So my client is and I have gentlemen clients as well, but I'm just saying the majority of my clients are ladies, and they come to me in that state of, I've lost myself. I don't know who I am, or I'm ready to start something new and fear is stopping me. Or I'm ready to tap into my passion and my purpose, and I don't know what it is. So that's where I was prior to getting into coaching. And so I used that to figure out my client, like, okay, because I kept seeing this is who was coming in. I'm like, wow, she's like me, taking notes. So in the program, I'm thinking of questions, because you guys, when you take your coaching program, you get all these questions, right? Did everybody get their list of questions? Yeah. So then I start using my questions to say, what questions will trigger them to begin to think about, what have they done in the past that kind of has always been moving them towards their purpose. Just helping them really looking at the questions face And I had to think about like, okay, when I was going through that, what do I wish someone would have asked me? Or because of the classes I've taken, I'm always listening to audiobooks or podcasts. When they say or do something or I learn something that really helps me, then that goes in my program. Like I just teach what I learn. Because, you know, there's nothing new under the sun. So there's this idea that, well, I don't want my program to be like anyone else's. It won't be in the sense that if you're not like anyone else. So you are the unique part of your program. But the content and if we're honest, you know that like everything that all of us do, a really good Google search could find it for us. We might not want to admit that, but that is true. So you like people, your clients, they are really buying to be with you, to learn from you, to grow with you, because if it was just the information, they could find the information anywhere. And so then you want to think about like, what are your clients' biggest desires or needs? And just to start somewhere, you can just start with 3. And eventually over time, you can say, okay, well, I'm seeing that they need this, this, and that. And start putting those things in your program. So how do you help them solve those problems within your program? So here, I'll share with you guys a little bit from my story when I started putting together my program. I heard a coach, I don't know if you guys have heard of Tony Robbins. He's an American. He's amazing.
I'm a big fan of him. I'm taking his course, by the way.
Yeah. I study him without taking his course because I ran out of money. But and my husband was like, if you pay for one more program, we're gonna fight. So
I love him. He's my role model.
I am too. Like I probably have seen every video and read all his books. And so, but Tony is the one who taught me the idea that we all have a story. Okay. And so that we have this story that we tell ourselves. And the story oftentimes is built in limitation. And so when he started teaching this, and I'm like thinking like, oh my God, I do have a story. And when I awakened to my story, I was so blown away at how it had limited my life. And so I thought, well, if this helped me so much, maybe this will help my client. And so the very first thing in my program is, what's your story? Because I'm getting my clients in the mind frame of starting to acknowledge that, oh, there is a story attached to everything I say and do. Because I need you to be aware that everything, my marriage, my children act like this, I'm not successful, maybe it's because I'm a woman, like it's all a story. And when you can begin to see the story, you can choose, am I going to keep believing this? And if it's true that women can't be successful, how did Oprah Winfrey become successful? And so these are the things I start putting in my program because these are the things that help me. And so then thirdly, this is how you test, improve. So you're going to observe, learn, and test. You're reverse engineering your superpowers and your ideal clients' needs to put together your program. Right. So if you're great at organizing, whether that's helping, like maybe you're really good at organizing your thoughts and you're really good at structuring how management should go, right? You just have that natural gift. When you put together your program, if you're working with execs, you're going to start thinking like, maybe my client would need this. And you're going to add that to your program. So for me, understanding that my client oftentimes feel lost, feel disconnected from who they are, I know that your emotional needs is the core, one of the cores of who you are. So if I'm going to put that in my program so that my client now goes, oh my God, I never knew that I needed to feel safe or certain so much that's causing me not to do anything. And so now they know something about themselves. So they go from I'm lost to now I know this about me. You guys see how this is working? So you like figure out like who's my client, what do they need, and let me put that in the program so that when they see it, they're like, oh, this is opening me up. The second thing for me, guys, I teach the way I learn. Like I can't, and I learned this from homeschooling my children. When I was homeschooling my kids, I read a book that was called So You're Thinking of Homeschooling. And one of the most valuable things I got out of that book was, I'm turning my phone off because it's buzzing. One of the most valuable things I got out of that book was, when you're homeschooling your children, pick a curriculum that works for both of you. Not just like I couldn't go and pick, oh my God, this is like the best curriculum in America. And so I want my children to know the best, and I'm going to teach them this. Well, I'm still their mom. I'm still a creative. I'm still like, if you give me too much to read at one time, I'm going to fall asleep. Right? So me picking the so-called best curriculum because it's based on some other people's standards may not have been the best for me to be effective teaching that to my children. So I did the same thing with my coaching clients. How do I learn? Because I'm going to attract people that are kind of like me. My client is me. How do I learn? Give me a video teaching, then put it in a workbook, and then let me talk to you to figure it out. And I learned that way because if you give me a coaching manual and it's this, I'm not coaching with you no more. I'm not going to read all of that. That's my truth, right? But if you are the type who, if you got a coaching manual and it was like this, you may be the type that's like, this person is on top of their game. I can't wait to dive into this manual. Then if you're that person, your coaching client is going to love you because you want to coach to your client. And I knew that my clients most likely were going to be, if she's a mom, she doesn't have a lot of time. She doesn't have she has to do a billion things. So to add to her, take care of the kids' homework, read something for work, take care of your husband. Oh, and by the way, to coach with me, you need to spend time reading 20 pages of documents before we get together. She doesn't have time, but she can certainly watch a 5 to 10 minute video. And she can do that as she's moving around, cleaning up and listening. And then she can find time to sit down and answer some questions in the workbook to give back to me so I can help her move through her process. So I say teach the way you learn. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to guess who your client is. Ideally, you're going to attract the people that are like you. Plain and simple. You know, there are going to be people that I love Tony Robbins. I met people, they're like, I hate that guy.
Colin.
How can you hate Tony Robbins, right? But think about it. It's okay because we attract to who we need, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So it's not like you're not a one fit all. You're just not going to be, and it's okay. So find the people that work for you and then you tailor to that. And then here's how you test. When you're like, well, I don't know, like, I think my clients would need this, but I'm not sure if this is effective. I'm not sure if this works. Like, it worked for me, but will it work for them? Do a workshop. Do a workshop on that one piece and test it and see how the people respond in the workshop. And did they get it? And did they understand it? And did they have aha moments? And did they have breakthroughs? And are they now using these new tools that you taught them in the workshop? If it works for them at a workshop, it's going to work in your program. I had lunch today with a lady who, she's been honest with me. She's like, I can't afford your coaching, but she comes to my workshops. And so she said to me today, she's like, Caneisha, I do this. And I'm like so excited because I teach this. I teach that in order to get rid of the negative self-talk, physically delete, right? So she's learned that in a workshop. Do you think my private clients get anything differently? No. Because it's test and proven. It works. And so if you're wondering, or if you're second guessing, I don't know if this will work, do a webinar, do a workshop, test your theories on your possible clients. Do it for free. Do it for a low price. Do it for the sake of your workshop. I mean, for the sake of your own research, so that then you know, should I put this in my program or not? Any questions?
Yes, but let me let somebody else ask a question before I go, because I just have a question. Okay, so I have two questions here, because I'm going to ask you to take a step back, because
Okay.
my first thing is, when you talk about have your workshop webinar to test your product, what if nobody shows up, right? What if, how do I even reach the people to, I know we have WeChat, but you got to do more than WeChat. So how do I get, I'm not going to ask you how I get past the fear. I'll get past the fear, but how do I design a program or something that's such that somebody will show up? Or do I just ask my friends to show up and get feedback?
No, you promote it, and they don't know. So Colin, this is what's really wonderful, right? And this is something you have to allow yourself to kind of choose to believe. Until you tell me you don't make $1 million, I don't know that you're not a successful coach making $1 million. You understand?
Right.
Until you tell me that you don't have a corporate client, you tell me you are executive coach, my mind immediately like, wow,
right,
they have corporate clients.
Right.
Maybe you don't. So if you offer it, here's what's wonderful. This is what I always said, that if I start teaching coaches how to start coaching, how to promote their business, one of the things I want to teach is what I'm calling the power of a flyer. So the very first event that I offered on a flyer, no one came. But the Hutong, you guys have heard of the Hutong in Beijing, like it's a
Wall Street.
Yeah, they do trips, they do cooking classes and all that kind of thing, right? So
Right.
I put the flyer out. I was hoping someone would sign up. No one did, but nobody knows that but me. A gentleman from the Hutong contacted me. He says, I saw your flyer. I think what you're doing is amazing. Can we have lunch? I'm like, sure. He's like, would you like to offer your workshops at the Hutong? What workshop? He doesn't know that I didn't have a workshop.
Got it.
But what he just did was he put me now in front of his audience.
Right. Right.
And guess what? We promoted that workshop. The price was way higher, and no one showed up for that one either. But guess what happened after that? When I did my next workshop, people was like, oh my God, I missed 2 of your workshops. I said, I'm not missing the third one. I didn't go, oh, it's okay, no one came. I didn't do that. I just said, yeah.
Glad to have you here.
Yeah, I'm just happy you came to this one.
Yeah.
And so there are going to be times when people don't show up. I've been promoting my group coaching program, and no one is signing up. And I'm like, why is there no one signing up for my group coaching? But then they come for private coaching. So it's like, okay.
Right.
So you can't always determine the outcome. You can't, there are marketing things and strategies you can do. And definitely what I've learned is the larger my audience, like the more people I'm advertising to, the more the chance I have of getting people. But don't wait, don't put off, don't talk yourself out of promoting an event based on the idea that no one is going to come, because maybe they won't, but then promote it again, particularly if you can do it the first ones where you don't have to pay too much.
Right.
Like if you know someone who has a small venue, or just have a coffee shop, someone who has a venue where you can say to them, listen, I can possibly bring you 5 to 10 people, and I'll encourage them to order food. Can I set up here and do this for 2 hours in your place for free?
Right.
And they may say, yeah. And then when it gets closer, you just might have to call them, email them, or WeChat them and say, hey, I promoted it, no one signed up, and they're like, okay, no problem, but anytime you have something, let me know.
Okay.
So that hasn't cost you anything, hasn't cost them anything.
Right. So my second question,
Sure.
can you just explain the difference and your preference, right, in active programs versus inactive programs? And what I mean by that is an active program where you are, hold on a second, please.
Sure.
Thank you. An active program where you are actually engaged in a session each week versus an inactive where you're setting a lesson plan or an update each week.
You want me to explain it, or would you ask?
If you can, I'm not sure everybody knows.
Oh, okay. So currently I have, like, every program that I offer you can do by yourself. I put it on Teachable. Have you guys heard of Teachable? Teachable is a great platform because you can build, video recordings, upload your workbook, and they'll link you, give you a page, and then they take a percentage, and it's a small percentage of whatever people pay. And it's great. And I haven't sold as much out there, but I sold some. I will tell you, I struggle with that because I love talking to people. But I understand it as a coach, and particularly the kind of coaching I do, like, I don't have corporate clients, in the sense of, like, Mercedes hasn't hired me yet. They will, but they haven't hired me yet. But maybe someone for Mercedes might hire me. So that means that I'm one-on-one oftentimes. And in order to scale, I put that out there for the person who says, I can't afford to work with you one-on-one, but I really want the work. And I'm like, okay, well, go out there. You can do each session by yourself, and you can email me. But I can't dedicate an hour to you. And if you want to dedicate a dedicated hour with me and you can't afford me one-on-one, we can put together a group of people for a lower cost. But if I have 3 people or 5 people paying the lower cost, now they still pay me for my hour time, you see? So that is a way to make up for the money on my part, as well as to help people who say they can't afford you. And so that's whenever, and I get that, like, I really want to work with you, but you're too expensive. Well, here are 3 options. So it's a great way to offer options. So you get to have your work out there. You get to make it affordable to people to say, hey, you go out there, you do it by yourself. It's only like $200. To work with me is almost $9, but you still it's the same work. Like, that video you're going to watch is going to be the video I'm going to send my one-to-one client. The difference is once they watch the video and they've done the work, they actually get to have an hour with me. So, and as I grow, and like every program I've purchased from these other coaches who have a large following, it's just me in their videos. And the only time I really get to interact with them is if, they do a live and they send out the time, and if I'm on time to do the live, and I might get my question in. But so a lot of the coaches who have larger audience, that's the way they're doing it.
Because you've taken both the active and the inactive, have you as a client, is there either method that you find more valuable?
I personally, because I am the chick who needs accountability, I need the active. So I actually will start a program. I think it starts January 20th with this lady. She's a coach, but she's also a friend. She's starting a program for entrepreneurs. And when she just kind of mentioned it on Facebook, I immediately hit her up and I was like, how much it costs? And please save me a spot. Because she was like, I'm only working with 7 people. I was like, don't play, save me a spot. And my husband was like, why are you doing that program? I said, because I have to show up. Like, I'm going to, where with the other program I purchased, like today I started it, I got a phone call. And so I didn't get to even work on it because my time got away from me. Where if I had to work with her, I would have got off that call. Because it was like my dad.
Right, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So the next thing I want you guys to do is to just start building the program. Like, start thinking about what can you tell your clients, if you do my program, this is what you will have. So like my purpose, profit, my profit, passion, and profit program, the 3 Ps. I can honestly say if you do that program, you will discover what makes you uniquely you, your special gifts and talents. You will learn how to put it in what I call a container. So I teach the profit part of that is once you understand your gifts and your talents, you put them in a container and you sell the container. So as a God girl, our spiritual gifts are free. So even when I'm just sitting around having a good time, interacting with people, people naturally feel encouraged by me. So my gift is free, right? But if I take that gift and I align it with a talent, talent being writing, talent being coaching, a talent being speaking, I take the gift of encouragement, align it with a talent. Now I can charge you. So that becomes the container. I charge you for the book because I took my gift of encouragement, wrote it down, put it in a book, and I say, hey, Colin, you want to buy my book? And so that is how that program is set up. It shows you how to take these gifts and talents that you naturally have, you put them in a container, whatever your container is. Like one lady I work with, she made body butters, right? So she used shea butters, oils, and all that. And then she took and put them in a container. Because I can go buy my own shea butter, I can go buy my own oils. But if you're going to whip it and do it for me, then you sell me the container, I'm all for that. Because I don't want to have to do that myself. So that's an outcome of that program is that you're going to leave working with me knowing how to put your gifts and talents together, knowing how to put them in a container and then begin to sell them. So now you can make money. Right? And in that program, I teach people how to deal with the fear that's stopping them, because usually the only thing that's ever stopping us is our emotional fear about it. And so that's an outcome. So I think about, okay, what are the outcomes of the program? Then you want to outline like kind of the steps it takes to get them there. Step 1, step 2, step 3, because I am very much one of those people with some of these programs that overwhelm me because there doesn't seem to be a sequence. They're like, oh, you can do whichever one you want. It's like, I needed to be 1 and 2. Like you can't do that until you do that. And if you just give me a bunch of videos and a bunch of workbooks and you just say, oh, when you talk about it inactive, you just go out there and you can pick either one you want. That's overwhelming to me. So I say, like, I teach the way I learn. I put things in a sequence so that you need that to get to here, you need this to get to there. And that's what my clients really like about my programs. It's like you give me steps, you break it down, you put numbers on things like 6 basic emotional needs, 5 ways to get over fear. Like people like steps. And so if you can put it in a way that they can see, oh, and you mean to tell me in 6 steps and 7 steps and 12 steps, I can have this done? Yeah, you can understand that. And then you want to start naming your program, like, and it may change. Colin, you know that when you reached out to me and you went on my website, I meant my bio, which made me realize I need to update my bio. My Journey to Your Best Self program, I rebranded, I shot the videos, but the core of the program is the same. I just changed the name because it felt more like an awakening to me than a journey.
Right.
And so at one point I thought about rebranding, going back, because it felt like journey sold more than awakening. So I was like, maybe people don't get awakening. Maybe I need to go back to journey because people bought the program more when it was called Journey to Your Best Self.
Okay.
So don't be afraid to change and rename and rebrand. Nobody is that in love with you that you're not McDonald's yet. Like if McDonald's changed the name of McDonald's, we would have a problem. But just starting out, just get started. And if you name it something and 6 months later you hate the name, rename it. It's okay.
My question would be the one that you already addressed superficially in the beginning. So everything that we know and we learned from someone, right? And basically what we put in our programs are a bunch of other people works that we have learned, right? So yeah. I have problem with that morally, let's say ethically. I feel like I'm, taking something from someone and then selling it to like a trader, something like that. So we all do that, but some people are good in repackaging it so it doesn't look like it took it from someone else.
And that's all it is.
Is that the secret, or? Okay.
That is the secret.
Okay.
And that's what you want to do. You see, here's the thing, like you and I, we're big Tony Robbins fans, right?
Yeah.
But if we sit down and we start talking about the things we learned from Tony, you will probably explain something that Tony taught way different from the way I explained something that Tony taught. And we find that we're talking about the same thing. You're like, oh my God, that's how you heard that? Oh wow, that's awesome. You're going to teach it that way. Yeah. And so you're, at that moment, you have just put your special Sasha brand on something you learned from Tony. Tony learned it from, what's the name, man? Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn, yeah. Colin likes him.
Right. You see, so there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
And so you can give credit, like in all of my programs, I quote Tony, I, reference his stuff, and other authors that that inspire the teaching that I'm teaching. Usually there's a quote on the page from them, and then I kind of take it and I word it the way I think and the way I talk, and I pull it down to less, because I love Tony, but it's so much.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So then I might just take one of his things and I'm like, break that thing down. Right. Because I'm one of those people, don't give me all of these stories around what you're just trying to teach me. Just tell me what I need to know and let me get out of here. So when I'm reading his book, I'm like, oh, another story. Right.
Actually, those stories are what I'm inspired by. I see myself in the story more than in the facts that he's teaching. Somehow I relate more. So that's the difference, I would say.
See how different we are?
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, I don't want to pressure you, but I think you have around
time.
8 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm almost done. 5 minutes, no problem. I'm on the last one right here.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know, here's some things that you guys need to think about including into your program. You want to make sure that you clearly define the step that the person is on. And so I do that in my videos. Instead of writing all that out, I just do it in my videos. I explain, today you're going to talk about the story. This is why it's important to understand your story. Just clearly define it. You want to talk about the benefits. When you understand your story, now you have the power to choose to continue to listen to the story. Give examples like what we just talked about with Tony. I love giving examples. I just don't want to read 20 of them. You want to re-emphasize learning points, because at the end of the day, we still all learn like we did when we was kids. The more you see something, the better you understand it. And then from my program, once they do the video, they got their learning points. They're going to do their power questions. So they work all of that out before they even talk with me. And then the assignment and the action plan is the conversation with me. And when they have the conversation with me and we're like, okay, what do you want to have by the end of this coaching session, based on everything that you've already worked out and figured out, I am now equipped to help my client quicker and better. Because now when I hear them say something, I'm like, okay, I remember you wrote in this that when you was young, you believed that. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, do you need that belief anymore? Because now I'm equipped with their tangible history without me trying to guess it. And when I reference that, they feel connected to me. They feel heard. They're like, oh my God, Caneisha knows me. So that's what having a curriculum has helped me do. And so for the most part, that's the end of my presentation, guys.
Great. Thank you, Caneisha. I think it was a great presentation, and I really enjoyed it. And it's not because you like Tony Robbins, it's because of your presentation. I would like to ask you, is it possible for you to recommend a resource that we can use that sets us through the creation aspect of the program?
Say that one more time. A resource?
Is there a resource which we can use that can helps us through creation of the program?
There are some things out there. In fact, when I was kind of doing a little bit of research of this, I Googled something and I don't remember the name of it. You guys got to remember, I'm a graphic designer by trade. So I design because I'm kind of that's one of the things I have to learn to let go, that I'm not ready to let go yet. So I can lay out, format, and do all of that stuff myself. I lay out my books myself. So I don't need those things as much as other people will. But definitely, even in your coaching program that you're learning how to coach, pay attention to how they're teaching you. And that could even be an example you can use to help your clients learn. So it's ways all around you. And just know, like, don't get caught up on this idea that, well, I wrote this, is it credible? The people who need your help, they just want help. People who are in pain or hurting, they don't care. They just, like, if you can help me out of this pain, cool. And so that is the point. That's what you want to start really relying on within yourself, that, you know what, I can help this person out of this pain. And just the fact that I've read this and I know this, that makes me credible. So don't get so lost in who am I to write a program.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Guys, here you can find the information how to connect to Caneisha and where you can find her. I highly recommend her YouTube channel. I watched first 2 videos of 2020 and
Thank you. Did you subscribe? Please subscribe.
I enjoyed. You need to work more for that. I'm joking.
Okay, I can do that. I'm willing.
Please scan the code if you want to ask her something personally. I'm sure she's willing to help any each of us on WeChat. We have a code here. Next thing for tonight is going to be dedicated to our goals for 2020.
Hey, Sasha,
yep.
I'm sorry, but before we go, I just want to say one more thing about Coach Caneisha.
Sure.
So, guys, I mentioned earlier that, well, not you all, but I told her that it's special meaning for her coming to our first webinar of this year. Now, Caneisha mentioned this, but I'm not sure she actually realized this. So, I was on WeChat, just looking through, doing what I shouldn't be doing, going through moments, and I saw a friend of mine. I saw a flyer. Caneisha talked about the power of the flyer. Well, I saw her flyer. I was like, wait a second, who is this coach in Beijing? A sister too, a coach. And I see this wonderful flyer. And as she said, to me, if you have a flyer, you're legitimate, right? And I was like, wow, who is she? And this was, I would say, late March. So I was fresh out of my course and looking to get some guidance because I was feeling very inspired to go forward with my coaching. And I said, you know what, Colin, let's go for it. And I emailed her out the blue. Or I emailed her and sent her a message. And she got back to me. And on May 3rd, we had our session. And I asked her to give me, I was so young back then. I was like, can you please give me an hour of your time? And we talked for about 90 minutes. And I recall saying that, shared with her what I wanted to do. She shared her story as well. And I instantly felt a connection. And I remember saying to her, and Sasha knows this, I have an issue with WeChat groups, right? And she mentioned that, Colin, get over your issue. And I told her I wanted to form a collective, but I was a little nervous about doing it. And she said, look, just do it. If you have 2 people, it'll grow. So, Caneisha, thank you, because quite frankly, that conversation is what gave me the motivation, not the motivation, but what gave me the courage to set up our first Shanghai Life Coaching Collective. So thank you very much.
No, thank you for going through with it.
Yeah, I had to, man. So thank you there. And I want to say thank you for being our first invited speaker. And I hope that you will accept our invitation to join our group.
Absolutely.
Great. So many people already know you, so it'll be a homecoming for you. So
good.
It's a very special meeting you being here today. And guys, I want to point out the power of reaching out to other coaches for help, right? other folks who have been there before. And I think in our first conversation, I told her this, but I went through her website hundreds of times because when I was designing mine, I needed ideas. I would cut and paste her words,
Nothing new out of
change them, change them a little bit. But, so, yeah. So, if you see somebody out there doing it, don't be shy to reach out to them.
Exactly. And that's what we all doing. I mean, if we're honest, my husband is a teacher. He's always coming home and he's like, they have this new thing out now. They're calling it this. He's like, babe, it was called that 2 years ago. Like they just changed the name of it.
Yep. So thank you again, Caneisha. And guys, we are a little bit, how are we doing on time here? We have about 10 minutes, right? And I want to make sure that we totally honor the start and stop time because we are in the evening. So I want to talk now briefly about our 2020 goals. So I reached out to our meetup group. I reached out to our members in WeChat, some of our members who are on social media, to really understand what are your goals for 2020. And the main reason is, one of the things that we do in a collective is we make it a habit of holding people accountable. So once they typed in and sent those goals out, we can now reach back 6 weeks, 2 months from now and say two things. Hey, how's it going? And how can I help you go further, right? So I think this is tremendous. So I want to share a few of these. I'm going to first come down to the member goals, because one of the things that a lot of coaches who are new and experienced, we continue to get accreditations and certifications. So we have a list here of different organizations that coaches are going for as far as accreditation and certification. It's true that you don't have to be certified to be a life coach, but the coursework, the experience helps tremendously, right? So I definitely recommend it. So you see here, we have Tony Robbins program, the Certified Coactive program, ICF programs, and even some European programs. Whatever the program is, as long as it's credible, take some programs this year. So it's good to see that our members are striving for various accreditations and certifications, because we always want to learn. If we look at our member coach goals, and I'm not going to say who, but this person is very active in our organization. She told me yesterday that I'm going to say finally, but she resigned from her company to go fully into coaching. And I recall here, if you go back to one of our previous webinars, you'll hear her say that one of her dreams is to resign and go into coaching full time. So I'm very, very, very happy. When she told me this, I almost dropped my phone, right? Because now this is her saying, you know what? I'm not just talking about doing this. I am doing it. And the person is married. And if you do that while you're married, you have to have that support. So this is real. So I want to say congratulations to the coach who is behind this. Also, we have some coaches who want to go further in their creating programs, publishing cards, and I think everybody across the board is creating and delivering workshops, podcasts, videos, and training, both long training and short training. And one of the best ways for coaches to continue to broaden and reach more people is through workshops, is through creating a brand online, is to have more content out there. The more content you have out there, it's not just more content for people to find, but every time you create something, you're practicing and you're knowing your knowledge a little more. Also, obtaining consistent flow of private and enterprise clients. I think this is every coach's goal every year, right? Not just getting new clients, but consistently getting new clients. So I think this is great. And then finally, creating an online presence, website, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever that is. I do think that is important. We'll talk about that in a later podcast, but from our member goals, these are very tremendous. And as a collective, we're going to do everything we can to support the coaches. I want to go back up top to the coach goals for the Shanghai Life Coaching Collective. Now, I'm not a hard ass, but I am in some ways. And when it comes to responsibilities of coaches in the collective, I do take those serious, which is why you'll notice we don't have a lot of members in our group. We have about 30, 35, about 40 people total in the various different platforms. Reason being, we really want coaches who are active in the group, who are actively trying to not just help the group, but help each other. So that is, so the collective, we want to continue to deliver training that is valuable to the mission of our group, build out a member directory for referrals. We have an online member directory. The reason we have a member directory, I think all of us have a situation where somebody may say, you know what, I need coaching. People come to me and say, Colin, I need coaching in a certain area. Well, I'm not a relationship coach, for example. I can't help you, but perhaps there's somebody in our community who can. And quite frankly, because member coaches are active, I get to know them better and I know what the skills are. As coaches, you don't want to refer a coach you've never really worked with. So by the coaches being active in the group, it helps us to understand what their abilities are. And then, yes, we want to recommend them because, again, we all get people who reach out to us for services that we can't provide. We want to continue to increase member engagement. And we have a lot of coaches who are going through the program now. As coaches, we want to be coach clients for them. A lot of times they need mentor coaches, they need coaching hours. So we want to make sure that we're there as clients, not as coaches, not giving too much feedback, but as clients to help them achieve their goal, become a better coaching, and reaching their coaching hours target. And then finally, we want to identify more ways to support member life coaches. This is why we're here, and we take it very serious. So we have some good goals here. We're going to, I only have control of the first set, the coach goals for the SLCC. So I definitely making these goals a little more smart. Put some dates behind them, but we want to support everybody, all members, and hope that we continue to get members who want to be active and give back. Okay, Sasha, that's it for the goals.
Thank you for this introduction. You can keep control of the slides. I'll just run through those because we need to wrap it up in 4 minutes. So our next webinar is going to be on February 4th. So our collective is organizing webinars every month. First Tuesday evening every month, we have webinars around various topics. Here we have a list of topics that might gonna be on our next webinar, but we still need to decide upon that. Feel free to recommend, guys, any life coaching topics that you're interested in. We want to do something that people want to listen to, and I'm sure you have ideas. We can go to the next one, Colin. This is our WeChat group code. For those who are on our meetup group, feel free to scan it. Because we still have these two separate. We have a website and our member directory here, website where we can check out the information about coaches. And I would close it here. If you, Colin, or anyone else has anything to share, please feel free.
Yeah, Sasha, the last thing I want to mention is we also have the site here for our previous our webinars. So the webinars we've done in the past are on this link as well. So feel free to go back. Our goal here is to have a repository of topics that coaches can come on here and learn and take a lesson.
Yeah. That's it. Also, all of our webinars are on YouTube channel where you can check them out whenever you feel like. So please, if you're interested in any of the topics that happened before, we had some interesting speakers like Coach Adrian from Australia, Adrian Cahill. Colin was speaking last time. Feel free to go and check them out. Thank you everyone for joining. It was interesting talking to you all. Thank you, Caneisha, for your presentation. I'm looking forward to your videos on YouTube. I'm sure I'm gonna subscribe at one point. We'll see when it's gonna be. Thank you everyone for joining. I wish you a good evening, and see you next time.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Caneisha.
Bye bye, Sheila.
Thank you, Colin.
All right.
Bye.